back to another episode of the MotoBookie podcast. What a weekend in San Diego. So we'll get into that. I was able to attend the race, and it was amazing. Obviously, just being able to be in the stadium with Plessinger taking his first win, it was absolutely amazing. I'm sure there's a lot of different storylines to talk about, so we'll get into those here in a minute. I want to real quick thank everybody once again for using the app, the MotoBookie app this weekend. We had a record number of wagers come in with over 2,000 wagers came in on the San Diego round. So thank you to everybody who's participating in using the MotoBookie app. We really appreciate that. The results for week 1 of challenge number 2 will be up tonight. So I'm not sure when this video will go up, but you will be able to check your results as far as, the amount of wins you've accumulated on the MotoBookie app. So thanks again to everybody who's supporting. We really appreciate it. Once again, some of the updates on that is we're hoping to go live in March with F1. So you guys will have access to the MotoBookie app and not only be able to wager on Supercross, but you'll also be able to put in wagers on F1 as well. And then we want to continue to roll out other sports as the year goes on. So thank you guys for supporting us in that. Also, I'm hoping more people will watch the YouTube videos. Obviously, I'm a no-name person in the sport, but there's a lot of people out there that make YouTube videos that don't have this massive following or whatever. And if you're not into watching a 3-hour snooze fest with a bunch of product reads and kind of like a group of dudes kind of just stroking each other's ego, come on, check us out. And we're gonna do weekly updates on the race. I'm not going to sit here and claim that I have a bunch of insider information on suspension settings and who's sick and who's not sick, because that's not the case. But I will tell you I'm a professional bench racer, and I do love talking smack and talking about the races. So if you're looking for something a little bit different and you don't want to go on and just watch a 3 or 4 or 5 hour snooze fest of a podcast, and you want to jump on for 20 or 30 minutes, hear my opinion, I'm also open to people's comments. I'd love to start getting some people live to come on. So as we progress the MotoBookie app and start getting more users, I'll start inviting some of those users on the podcast to just kind of talk about not only the wagering side of things, but the average fan opinion. I think it's important. I think sometimes we can bring some different insight. Obviously, you see a lot of those podcasts are skewed in their opinions because they got to kind of pander to sponsorships and who's giving them money, and sometimes they're not allowed to really say how they feel or allowed to say what's going on in the industry because they don't want to affect their revenue streams, which is totally understandable. But here, don't really care. So I'm going to say whatever I want, and I hope some of you like it. If you don't like it, I appreciate that too. So we're going to jump right in. Obviously, San Diego, epic. Plessinger get his first win. He rode amazing. I think there's a few different things that happened in that race that we'll obviously talk about. But I think Barsha rode amazing. Obviously, he was able to, coming back from an injury, Barsha was able to put it up on the podium, which I thought was super cool. He rode solid, kind of looked, got out there in third, held his position, and brought it in for a clean podium. Obviously there's a lot of speculation with the Chase Sexton thing. I was there live to watch it. Coop definitely was coming. I would tell you that if Sexton doesn't get in his way or block him or whatever somebody wants to say he did, I do think he had an opportunity to reel in Plessinger. He was definitely coming. He was building and getting stronger towards the end of that race, and I think we would have saw an all-out battle to the finish. And I can't tell you that Plessinger would have gotten that win had it not been for Sexton's little block pass move. But I don't know. I think it's open to people's opinion. Obviously, people are burning him down on the internet saying, how could you do that? But if he did do that on purpose, got to say it was kind of a veteran move. I think he's well aware that he's not going to do that to his teammate because KTM's not going to be happy with him. But, knowing that Coop's coming and he's definitely one of the guys that's going to be fighting you for the title, to kind of get in his way and prevent him from getting that win is actually kind of a veteran move. Now, if he can play it off and, apologize and say it was an accident, I think there's some damage control to be done there. But honestly, watching it from the stands, I feel that was done on purpose. He had hit that corner 25 times that night and never you see how he hit the corner, came out, kind of like acted like he bobbled, went right into Coop's line. I'm going to go with veteran move. It wasn't overly obvious. It's not like what happened with, the Dean Wilson thing in Kenny where he went, 3 laps, revving the motor and then he didn't get out of the way. So I'm going to go with, I think that was definitely a veteran move on Chase's part. And if it was, good to him. I mean, look, they're out there racing for titles. They're out there racing for money. I know it's kind of like a scumbag thing to do, but ultimately it wasn't overly egregious. He didn't ride in the main line for 3/4 of a lap, completely blocking him. They went through one corner. He kind of had a little blunder, got in his way, and then let him pass. So did it possibly cost them the win? Absolutely. Do I think it was just crazy egregious? No, I don't. But I will stand on the side that I think he did it on purpose. Some other notables, obviously, just from the racing side of things. Kind of cool to see Dylan Verandis still putting that privateer bike up close to the front in 6th place. Some of the other stuff that I saw was pretty good. Obviously, I don't know what the hell happened with Christian Craig, or I don't know if Eli landed on him or if Craig's went into his lane. I don't know what the hell happened there, but Christian Craig's kind of becoming a hazard. He's all over the place. I did a last video saying that I think this is his farewell season. I think Craig gets fired halfway through the season. I don't think, or probably fired in the next couple of races. I mean, the results just aren't there. He gets out to a good start and you kind of just see guys just going around him, almost like he's conceding spots. You don't see any fire out of him. And I feel bad, but, I don't think things have been right, since he had that last injury. I was looking back on some of his YouTube videos and I don't want to speculate, but sometimes these dudes go through those gnarly injuries and obviously there's pain medication involved and there's different things that go on to heal from these injuries. And, he just looked run down, like even coming into the season, and not just physically, but you looked at him and he looked just kind of out of it. So, I don't know if perhaps just trying to rush that injury and coming back. And like, I know, most of these dudes are on pain meds trying to get back to form. And, then you begin to get healthy and you got to kind of, figure that situation out to fight through the pain. And unfortunately, I almost would like to see Christian Craig just pull the plug. He was out there kind of swerving around, going through the whoops, blasting off the track. He somehow ties up with Eli. So now you got a guy that's in the title hunt that you basically took out. And I think he was lapping him too. If I'm not mistaken, he was lapping him. So, I'm sorry to say that, but I think Christian Craig, I think he's got to get off that bike. I think there's other areas in the industry that he's going to make a great career and a great living. But I think as far as being on a dirt bike, I think his time has come. Other than that, looking once again at somebody who we've talked about week in and week out, Malcolm Stewart, 19th. Guy can't catch a break. Went down again within the first 3 or 4 corners. Don't quote me on that, but he went down very early in the race, and that team's just on the struggle bus. Unfortunately, Mookie may be that guy, like the one that has it all, but can never showcase it for a number of different reasons, whether they're self-inflicted or other riders running into him, or just whatever the case may be. We may be in a situation where you'll never see Mookie get a win or just be able to show what he can do. I don't know if it's bad luck, circumstances, whatever the case may be, but he came in 19th. One other thing I noticed, obviously we'll get into the Jett. I have an opinion on the Jett and Anderson thing, but one thing I noticed is after Jett went down, or I don't remember what exactly happened, but somehow he ended up pretty far back with his brother. So at one point, him and Hunter, if I'm not mistaken, Hunter was in front of him. Could be wrong, don't quote me, but I think Hunter was in front of him. And, when you look at the contrast between the two of them, when they're actually both out there on the 450 together, Hunter made a mistake. I don't think Hunter's ready for the 450. I watched just the two of them out in the race together, and Jett literally walks away from him. I understand the conditions are different, and I understand it's a mud race, but just watching Hunter on the bike, I don't know if it's just his stature, the build, his physical build. He does not look like he can manhandle that bike the way Jett does. I mean, at one point, Jett went blowing around him, and within 3 or 4 laps had gapped him by 10 seconds. And I'm just kind of using those two as a parallel because obviously they train and ride together every day. But I really feel Honda, obviously it's an amazing selling point. They're able to market the two of them being on the 450 together. But I don't see Hunter. I don't see Hunter being one of those guys yet. I think another year on the 250, and a lot of people are going to disagree. People are going to go, "Oh, you're crazy. He was done with the 250." Not really, though. I mean, last year, Thrasher gave him a run for his money a number of times. He clearly wasn't the best 250 guy because his brother pretty much was able to spank him at will. So it doesn't look good. Like honestly, I think, he ended up getting 7th. So, he broke the top 10. But when you look at some of the guys, you got Eli, who would have probably beat him without, having the problem with Craig. You got Kenny. You got Sexton. So in all actuality, he was more of a 10th place guy, given those 3 guys probably would have beat him. I think Honda might've rushed that one. He don't look good. He even on the bike, going through the whoops, obviously if he can skim them, he's probably he's going to look a lot better, but that's not the case. Like, these tracks are going to get beat up. And I don't know that if it's his stature or his body or his frame or the strength, he does not look good on that bike. And, I hope he can turn it around. Obviously, this is not the year Honda wanted. Shimoda, we'll talk about him later, but obviously it's just been a complete train wreck with him as well. So, hopefully he can turn it around, but they may have rushed Hunter up to the 450. I definitely think Jett was ready. I think Jett obviously proved he was ready. But I think Hunter could have used another year on the 250, let him get another title, whatever the scenario is with 250 guys. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he was forced to go up because he won the championship. I don't know. But he don't look good. It doesn't look good. Even being at the race, I've gone to 2 of the 3 rounds. And obviously Anaheim, I don't know what the hell happened there. And then this race here, he didn't look very good. Other than that, obviously, AP story headline, Cinderella story, probably one of the greatest nights of racing that I'll ever attend live. Just the crowd reception, everybody was just going bananas, and I'm so glad he pulled it off, not just for him and his family, not just from the financial standpoint, but I think this definitely puts him in a position the way he's riding this year. Maybe he doesn't win the championship. If he did, it'd be the sickest thing ever. But I think this definitely gives him the driver's seat to get another 1 or 2 year deal. Obviously, getting a win and proving in the first couple of rounds, I think he went like 6-5-1 or something like that. He's been right there, and this may be that opportunity for him to extend his career out a little bit more, earn some more money to help his family out. So I'm in for it. It was amazing. I mean, just awesome speech, just great guy. I don't think there's another guy out there that anyone would root for besides AC. I mean, obviously, if somehow AC got a win, before his career come to an end, that'd be the second, the greatest thing ever is see AC get a win. But I think the points wise, it was pretty cool. Everything pretty much tightened back up. I mean, everybody, all your heavy hitters are within 10, 12 points. So it's playing out exactly how a fan would want it to play out. Having Plessinger with the red plate is going to be awesome. And clearly, KTM's, got to be super happy with that. I mean, Chase is right in the hunt too. So they're 1 and 2 in points, which is super cool for them. Obviously Chase, San Diego wasn't his best night, but he's there. He's in the fight. Obviously Eli, we're still not sure where he stands. Unfortunately, with just weird track conditions and A1, he said bike settings were off. I got tight. So it'll still be cool to see where he's at A2. We're really hoping here in Southern California, this rain can get the hell out of here so that we can see a nice dry race and kind of start to sift through who's on their game and who's not. Other than that, not a lot of notables in the 450 class that stand out. Obviously, let's talk about it. I'm going to give my opinion. Um, so in the pre-race stuff, kind of leading up to San Diego, there was a number, obviously Vital and all these guys do a bunch of interviews, and as I'm watching them, you're beginning to see some cockiness out of Jett, which I'm not a big fan of. In those interviews, he's kind of like, yeah, whatever. I lost some points. It don't matter. Give me a dry track. I'll make those points up. This ain't a big deal. I think there's a fine line between confidence and cockiness. And unfortunately, you take a kid that's had this much success so quick, and it's not just the success, it's the money, it's the cars. I mean, he's hitting it. He's hitting it hard. He's making a ton of money. And I really hope that somebody in his camp, whether it's his mom or his dad or Myrtle or whoever, says, "Hey, let's just make sure we don't cross the line of cocky confidence to cocky." The interviews did not come off good. Go into the comments section on some of those interviews, and I would tell you it's not the Jett Lawrence that we saw even a month or two ago that was kind of humble, and it was this very cocky vibe. And I'm not there for it. This is a sport where what one night can change the whole trajectory of your career. I mean, look at Ken Roxon. I mean, just one bad crash can totally take you from the top of the hill to sitting under the rig, signing autographs, and not even being on the bike because you're hurt. So I think you got to really stay humble. I think he needs to check himself a little bit. The Anderson thing, which, this goes back to, and I kind of was starting to get a little soft in some of these pods because I was concerned about, I've had some people on the show and you said some stuff that rubbed my buddies the wrong way. So I'm not down with it anymore. I don't care anymore. Like, I'm going to say what I want to say. And the truth is Veld and AMA, it's a mafia, and they're going to do the same thing, right? So they go out and they're going to find the riders. But yet, I guarantee you at Anaheim 2, the number one clip that is going to run hour after hour, minute after minute on the big screen is the Jett Lawrence, Jason Anderson, whatever you want to call that. And I just think it's kind of like a double standard. Like, hey, we're going to punish you guys, but we're also going to use that footage to sell tickets and to sell, to make sure people tune into the race. So from the Feld and AMA standpoint, this whole, we're going to fine you bullshit, it's just stupid. Like, these are two dudes that are emotional. They're both adults. And if you are going to find them, then don't use the footage as a promo reel. That part of the sport, I can't stand. And it's just, it's super annoying. And I would tell you, bad look on Jett. Obviously at the beginning, everyone had clipped the reel where you just show Anderson grabbing his helmet, but that's not what happened. We've all seen the whole video now. And I think it's a bad look on Jett. He's getting a little too big for his britches, and he's lucky that wasn't Barsha. I would tell you, if that would have been Barsha and that exchange happened, you could guarantee you Jett at some point in this season would be laid up in the hospital with pins through his femur. He's got to be careful. This isn't the 250 class where you pass a guy and he tries to get your fucking autograph while you're passing him. These 250 guys are, some of them are almost in the damn autograph line to get an autograph from them. That's not this. This is you're playing with adult men who have families, who are trying to earn as much money as they can on their way out of the sport so they can set their families up. Nobody gives a shit that Jett Lawrence, that you held up Jett Lawrence. You're in the 450. No one cares. So I think it was a bad look. I think obviously Myrtle and his team were quick to draft a response and put it on his Instagram page. We're so sorry and super sorry, and we'll pay the fine, which I thought was a little tacky too. Which is, I don't know, is that a small jab at Anderson? Like, hey, bro, don't worry, I'll pay your fine. I think Anderson's done well. I think Anderson's got money. I think he's been frugal from what I hear. He's a saver. You don't see him driving Lambos and Porsches and Rolls Royces. So I think Anderson's bank account probably looks pretty good, and he can afford the fine. So I would just tell you from start to finish with Jett starting that conflict, whatever you want to call that, and then the Instagram post, hey, I'll pay the fine. It was all tacky. It was really tacky. And he's just lucky he didn't do that to the wrong person. I'm honestly shocked that Anderson didn't get off of his bike and just hammer him. Once again, he needs to be careful, because you do that to Barsha, or you do that to one of these guys that aren't caring that you're the new up and coming, Jeremy McGrath 2.0. They don't care. These dudes want to make money. They want to do wins. They want to get wins. And at the end of the day, if he's holding you up, find a fucking better place to pass him. Then find a better place to pass him. But nothing I saw that Anderson did. Of course, he's going to get in the main line and he's going to maybe brake check you a little bit. That's part of racing. So you just assume that because you're coming through the pack, everyone should get out of the way. That's crazy. So I'm a huge Jett Lawrence fan. I got 1 foot off the train. I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like the cockiness. I don't like what he did with Anderson. So he needs to watch it. I think he needs to really check himself because it could get out of control really quick. And let me tell you, you can say sorry all you want. I guarantee you they get on a dry track and maybe Anderson's not as fast, but if he can get within striking distance, don't think for a minute that Anderson ain't gonna run it in on him. Apology or no apology, he don't give a shit. So from my perspective, kind of jumping off the Jett train a little bit, and also he's got a big following. I mean, El Hombre's got a following, so careful because you're 14. Your fan base is 14-year-old to 17-year-old girls, and El Hombre's base ain't that. So, there is a big fan base that follows Jason Anderson, and part of that fan base is going to say, hey man, screw this kid. Like, next time you get an opportunity, get straight to the leg, run it in on him. So, that's kind of my take on that. Some people are going to like it. Some people are not. I think he's an absolute phenomenal rider, most likely the future of the sport. But just because you're the, kind of the odds on favorite to be the next crown jewel of Supercross doesn't mean the rest of these dudes out there care about that. They really don't. And he's not playing with little kids anymore. He's not passing Deegan. He's not passing some 17, 18-year-old kid who's been looking up to him or who's been, just stoked to be on the gate with him. These dudes don't care. They don't care who you are, how many donuts you sell, who your team is, what your fan zone looks like. You take it in on Barcia like that, or you run up beside him and flip him off or grab his helmet, be careful because it could get ugly quick. So that's kind of my take on that. I'm Team Anderson on this one. He's got to ride his race. And if you're that much faster and you're that much better, then go around him. Then find another line. I don't know. Try to jump a quad. I don't know. Come through the whoops and try to skim the whoops and get him in the whoops. But don't come around grabbing a full-grown adult like that because one day it's going to end up bad for him. Other than that, on to the 250s. Thrasher obviously proved he still got what it takes. He still put it up front. Awesome win for him. Marchbanks got robbed. Maybe Thrasher ends up passing him. Who knows? But the fact that lapper literally was the direct cause of Marchbanks losing the lead, maybe it would have happened regardless, but that lapper's definitely at fault. And maybe when Feld and AMA and some of these people, can decide to stop sucking all the money out of the industry, they need to upgrade a little bit. I've had a number of ideas and different inventions that I think could cure some of these problems. Unfortunately, no one wants to hear it unless you're Steve Mathis or you're part of Pulp or you're part of one of these other platforms. They just assume that no one else has a good idea, but I do. Unfortunately, cost him the race. Marchbanks could have won that race. Maybe Thrasher does reel him in, but I guarantee you Marchbanks wasn't going to just let him go by. I mean, who knows what would have happened. So this is another case where a lapper was the direct cause of a guy losing a race. That's my opinion. Jordan Smith, another great ride by him, up on the podium. Shimoda, after spinning off the gate and doing God knows what he was doing, frolicking around, spinning off the gate, he managed to come back and grab a fourth. You got Kitchen in fifth. And obviously, we all know it. We all know it to be true. And unfortunately, it's happening again. RJ Hampshire slowly slipping back after an amazing A1. He has slipped off the radar and he's now 13 points behind. Obviously, some of the stuff you see him try to do, and he's tried to jump the finish line thing and lands off to the side. It's kind of the 110% effort all the time, I think is biting him in the ass. It's almost like, dude, just go give 85 or 90%, and perhaps the outcome's different. I guess that's hard to tell a racer because you're going to say, hey, I just need to charge all the time. But it's kind of sucks. You see Marchbanks slide. You see Hampshire slide back in the points. And then you got Marchbanks in third in points, which is awesome. A privateer guy running third in points. He's only 10 points out. So once again, shout out to Club MX, shout out to all these privateer teams who are proving themselves to be able to close that gap between these factory teams and privateer teams, which is, I love it. Honestly, if I was ever in the position or even financially in the position to really make a large investment in privateer teams, I would love to do it. I think to create longevity in this sport, you're going to need to do that. You can't just have a handful of factory seats and then every guy from 10 to 20 doesn't even have a chance because they can't get on the right equipment. Well, shout out to these privateer teams, man. You're starting to close that gap. There's also another guy which I haven't given any attention to. I think you pronounce it Bardone. This Anthony Bardone. Obviously he's already 39. He's got 39 points. He's ahead of Joe Shimoda. He's ahead of Nate Thrasher in the points. He's ahead of Ryder DeFrancisco. So shout out to him, man. Guy shows up on a Suzuki and is running 6th in points. So good for him. I mean, obviously they won't, but hopefully one of these teams takes a good long look at this guy. And after 3 rounds, I mean, I think after 5 or 6 rounds, if this guy's within, 4 to 6 in points, factory guys, you're going to have to take a look at this guy. I don't know nothing about him. I'm not going to act like I'm some guy that, researched this guy and I know much. I did watch him at the race, and obviously after 3 rounds and being this close in points, or at least up there in the points, he's getting some attention. So hopefully, Feld and some of these other media outlets, instead of interviewing the same riders over and over and over and over and over and asking the same questions over and over and over and over, get a hold of this guy, man, and get some good interviews from him. Give the guy some spotlight. Give the guy some TV time. Throw him a bone. So hopefully, the media guys out there will do that. Other than that, unfortunately, big fan of Juju. Like the kid, just bad race. Caught up in the mud, sliding around. Just wasn't able to put it together. But I messaged him and said, "Hey man, keep your head up. It's your rookie year. You can run up front. Let's get these bad, kind of weird, quirky conditions out of the way and put these races behind you and put it back up front. And I think he's still a contender." Other than that, I think that's a wrap on kind of the racing side of things. Once again, I'd like to start promoting the YouTube channel a little more. I watch Cooksy's videos. I watch a lot of the, main event moto guys. And, if you want to look at a podcast where, I don't have accolades or I was never on TV at one point, but I do follow the sport closely. I'm a huge fan of it. Obviously, with us developing the app, the first social wagering app for moto, our goal is to get as many people to watch motocross and supercross as possible. And in doing that, I'm going to study the sport more myself so I can become more knowledgeable and better at this. So like I said, if you support us, if you like just clicking into something that's only 20 or 30 minutes long and you want to hear my opinion, I appreciate that. Throw me a like, throw me a don't like, cuss me out, don't really care. We're here for all of it. But thank you guys again for everybody. Real quick before we go, shout out to Buttery again. We did give away the $1,000 raffle to a gentleman named Cody, so I'm happy for him. He was able to scoop up $1,000 in the raffle. We were able to pay out the first Moto Bookie Challenge winners. Everybody's been paid, so we're super stoked for them. And once again, if you guys get a chance, it's app.motobookie.com. It's the first social wagering platform. I know there's a bunch of fantasy leagues. It's not my bag, not my thing. Is to sit and earn a bunch of fake points that you can't really win anything till the end of the year. Ours is definitely structured different. We're here to let people win prizes. Every couple of weeks we're handing out prizes, and we hope to only increase that. So check it out, app.motobookie.com, and we look forward to going to A2. We will be there in person, my daughter and I. Super stoked to see it. Hopefully we can get some dry conditions and see what these guys can do. And thanks again, guys. I appreciate it. Check out the YouTube videos. Check out our Instagram. And once again, the app is free. So app.motobookie.com. Get on there. Throw in some wagers in our fantasy challenge and take an opportunity to win some cash. So thanks again, guys. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.